Motherfucker.
Are we going? We are going.
It's just asked me if I wanted to fucking leave the site. I'm like, no, I don't want.
No, StreamYard. We do not want to leave the site. We are exactly where we want to be here on the Poproast podcast. We are stretching. We are borderline retching, maybe. We'll see.
There might be some retch.
It could be one of those episodes, everyone. So get your ASMR ears on and strap in for some fucking nonsense. Or should we just go straight into a news story, Jordan? How are you doing? You're not feeling your best self this week, I hear.
I've been better.
He's been better. It's not good, everyone. When the brains of the operation is half out, like you've basically just got half of a shit, right? But he's here. He's good to go. He dragged himself along the fucking floor, and he made it up to that fucking lovely chair.
I'm here.
For you, people. For you.
Let's go.
He's done this for you. He's ready to go for you. So before we even talk about our first story, click like, click subscribe, go and follow all the things, because this is the lengths that we are prepared to go to on our Friday night, no less, not to fucking dox ourselves when we're recording. But spoiler alert, it is a Friday night. And we're spending it with you. And we are going to we're not going to wipe away the cobwebs, George. We're going to bring the cobwebs to us. We're going to talk about this fucking trailer, because I had heard nothing about this movie. And every now and then this happens where you've not heard of a movie, and then like you just get this quick like fucking flashbang marketing play in your face. And it's not even like a massive marketing campaign. It's just, I just so happened to have just heard about this movie from like 3 or 4 different outlets over the last half a week or so. I'm talking about Cobweb, of course, starring Anthony Starr. I had no idea anything going into this. Did you have any idea what to expect before you watched this? And then what do you feel like after watching it?
I did. I saw the trailer when I watched Talk to Me. And, yeah. I was
not impressed. Not impressed, I take it.
That creepy, jumpy little thing, knock on the fucking wall. I don't know, as a kid.
Oh man, we got different takeaways from this.
All right. Yeah, let's go.
Kind of, because I'm watching this, I'm just like, this feels very much like one of those mid to late 2000 like horror thrillers. I'm talking like An Orphan, or like that Mirror movie with Kiefer Sutherland, you know, or an Oculus. Mm-hmm. It looked like it's kind of in that realm, and all those movies kind of turned out to be okay. You know, they knew what they wanted to be. We start off with the tapping on the wall or whatever. We got a creepy kid. There's always a creepy kid. And it's just like, here we go. Like, I mean, you put Anthony Starr in this as the dad. How am I supposed to not see him as like a creepy, threatening dude? I don't know if you've watched The Boys, but he is very much a creepy, threatening dude.
Fucking hell, I was about to just ask, like, remind me.
Right? So, like, do you put him in this knowing that people are going to think that he's the villain, and then you flip the script and it's the mum that's the villain? Because in this trailer, it looks like they're setting up, like, 4, maybe more, like, different, like, threads of what could be going on here, right? You've got creepy dad, ghosty mum, spirits are maybe tapping on the walls. We got masked people hanging around outside the front here. Like, it's kind of just nicking a little bit of everything. And
there's literally that little bit of text that says sooner or later family secrets come out as well.
There's something going on, and I think Anthony Starr is a red herring. I think he's very much going to be a wholesome dude, and they just cast him to throw you off the scent that it's probably going to be the mum or some other like ancestral stuff going on with the house or that family or whatever. Skeletons in the garden. there's literally skeletons in the garden. They're not metaphorical. They're not in the closet. They're digging up skeletons. You know, so
In the boneyard.
I don't know. The boneyard. You know, let's get Angelina Jolie and Denzel Washington in here to come collect these fucking things up because they are making a mess. All right. Let's call it what it is, right? If you dig deep enough in any garden, you're probably going to find fucking skeletons and remains. So that's not really evidence in a court of law. Do you know what I mean? Like they could have been there from years ago. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a bad look when you've got ghosty mums jumping out. But seriously though, I thought this looked okay. I thought this looked serviceable. I don't know, it looks a little bit throwbacky, which could work for or against it. I'll tell you what, I thought it looked much better than though. I think it looked way better than the Nun 2. Because boy.
Hang on. Hold your horses, boy. You didn't mention sorry.
Now you've got stuff to say about cobwebs. Now you've got stuff.
I'm half cut. It's been a
half cut those cobwebs away. Yeah, just cut those cobwebs away, lay it all out. What you got?
I just wanted to mention, I mean, you didn't mention the fact that it's produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. They put their fingers in a lot of pies.
Well, they did The Boys, so they're obviously they like working with Anthony Starr. They brought him over, but I didn't see that they did this. I had no idea.
Well,
I missed out in the trailer.
They did. I don't know if they've really, delved into the horror genre much, production-wise. Obviously, when it comes to
really. They did Preacher, which was also
yeah. There's elements definitely.
That's kind of horror-y. Yeah,
there's definitely dark shit in it. Yeah, thinking about it, I didn't think about that. But
they're definitely spreading themselves out a little bit, much like a David Gordon Green, who they worked with, who kind of went hard nosedive from comedy into horror with the Halloween and Exorcist and stuff. But they've kind of taken they're kind of roaming around the genres, just seeing what works for them, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, one other quick note is that Samuel Bowden is the director. I just had a look. I haven't seen any of the films he's directed, but I just wanted to shout out because he directed a music video for the French fucking legends Gojira, and it happens to be my favorite song. And it's quite a good video as well. It's Vacuity. So yeah, I'm interested for that.
Yep.
Because there's definitely a cool visual style to that. And
and I mean that's a cool band. That's not
It is it's a good band.
They're not your Papa Roaches. That's a band with some credibility. A very clear artistic angle to everything that they do.
Very much so.
So they probably wouldn't be just bringing on any old, studio hired hack to do their videos. There's probably somebody that they would have worked close with, right? So he's probably got some ideas.
Some chops, I reckon. But that's going to be an ongoing theme tonight. Many music video directors and interesting music videos, of which I was totally unaware of.
Oh, absolutely. Some of the stuff I looked up for later, I've seen a lot of music video credentials, So that's we'll get there. We'll get there, George. Don't worry. We'll get there. We're going to talk about, just give you a little sizzle there, we're going to talk about Fright Fest. We've a whole bunch of horror movies going in there, a whole bunch of up-and-comers, both on and behind the camera. But until then, we are going to have to talk about the Nun 2.
What's that? None of
your fucking business. Nun 2, second to none.
And that's what you tell the police when they ask.
That's what they should have called this. Absolutely.
None.
It was my skeletons. Who are those skeletons in the garden? None of your business. All right.
None of your business. None of your Blumhouse.
So, none of your fucking Blumhouse. So I didn't watch this trailer again because I saw this trailer in the theaters a couple of days ago when I saw another movie that we're going to talk about a little bit later. And I don't know, man. I haven't seen any of them. I'm gonna be upfront. Right?
You seen none of the Conjurings?
None of the Conjuring, man. This stuff is not. This stuff is not my bag. I'm not big into this. Just like
the paranormal.
I don't know, this production line paranormal shit. Yeah, it's very much like the last 10, 15 years. You get one of these movies like every 3 or 4 months. You know, whether it's a Conjuring, it's a Paranormal Activity, it's it's an Annabelle, it's what was the Crooked Man, or they did some other movie in the universe. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of this shit. Yeah, I don't know, one of the Conjuring universe ones. I don't know, man. This stuff just feels, it's just ghost. Your stereotypical ghosty woman, jumpy scares. Like, we've done this a million times. I've seen The Ring. I've seen The Grudge. I've seen it all. Am I missing something?
You might be with the earlier efforts. To be honest, I actually quite enjoyed the first two. The first Conjuring, it was a bit jump scary, but there's some good suspense. It's the second.
And I love Patrick Wilson, so I want to love this. I want to get into this because I love him.
As far as I'm aware, they are based off of an actual couple who were like real paranormal investigators, and the second film is based off of the Enfield hauntings, which is a real life case that happened in Enfield, London, and that's what got me interested in wanting to see him. And someone had hyped up the first one, so I watched the first one, I watched the second one, and in the second one, that's when you first catch a glimpse of Valak, which is the nun demon, right? So
she's got a name, has she?
She's got a name. They've all got names. Dean, fucking hell.
They're just notches on the bedpost to me. You know, me and Dan Aykroyd just racking up ghosts.
Anyways,
should be touching cloth. That's what I'm saying.
Not lucky at all. Anyways,
not a threat.
Not a threat. Not a threat at all. I'm sure nobody's threatened. It's going well, isn't it? So yeah.
How much intimidation does she feel, George? None. It's fine.
Yeah, that
roll it up.
Caught me my imagination. I thought she was pretty creepy, to be honest. When I first saw it, I was like, that is creepy. That's fucking scary as shit. And it was one of the first things to actually make me feel like that for quite some time in a horror film. So I was like, yeah, I'm interested to watch The Nun. I watched The Nun. I fell asleep. I don't remember fuck all of it.
There you go.
There's that.
Couldn't
watching the
conjure
trailer,
up some caffeine.
Yeah, I'll conjure up some caffeine and give that a rewatch, and possibly go watch The Nun 2, because there's fuck all else going on in the next couple of weeks. And apparently, like, The Nun did quite well.
Most of these movies do. They usually do. There's a reason it's a whole universe.
Blumhouse, but that's sort of how it's gone with a lot of their titles. The first couple are pretty decent, and then they cash in on the sequels, and then maybe cut some corners, maybe don't do so much creative stuff with it. But yeah, looking at the trailer, it looks more of the same.
It's nothing. It's production line paranormal. That's all it is. You heard that here first, folks. I mean, yeah, you can put Smashing Pumpkins in anything, and that's fine.
It's good,
but I saw 2 trailers in the theatre this week, right? Actually 3, but one was for a movie that was 20 years old and it's getting a 4K re-release. Training Day, I do not care. I've seen it once. Whatever. One's a good cop. One's a maybe not good cop. And we're in LA or Chicago, one of these fucking, metropolitan cities. That's fine. Don't worry about it. The other trailer I saw was it was a shorter version of the Exorcist trailer that we covered a couple of weeks ago. And even though it was a trimmed down, it was like a minute 30 or something. And a lot of the meat wasn't really there, but that was still a more effective trailer. Like that scene where Reagan, or not Reagan, but the demon kid is walking into the church and she's saying the shit, and all that stuff was really effective.
The body in the blood.
Body in the blood. That's exactly what she said. Body in the blood. Right. So yeah, that was more effective to me. And the reason I'm using that is because I'm segueing, because the Exorcist movie, we're now getting it a week earlier because of unforeseen demonic forces have infiltrated our wholesome, happy midst, and they are pushing the demon away. Right, I'm talking about Taylor Swift, everybody. So they're releasing the Taylor Swift Eras tour in certain selected theaters all over the place because the tour's selling so well, and like George just alluded to, theaters don't have as much stuff as they maybe would want, or maybe stuff's getting pushed back because there's a strike going on. For fuck's sake, give them everything and more, please. For them, for us, for yourselves, for the good of the fucking good human consciousness, and just fucking do the right thing, people. Side note here, the studio execs, right? I read a quote that said, they're like, these big movies and streaming is not even profitable, so why are you coming at us asking for money? It's like, get fucked. These people are not creatives. They're not creators. They are business people, right? If these things were not profitable, they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be doing this job. They would be accountants or fucking working in finance companies or selling fucking bathroom tiles or whatever else was making money. Believe nothing they say. They are making so much fucking money.
Far more than they need or deserve.
But not as much as Taylor Swift, because fucking God, Taylor Swift is back. I don't know what album this is. I'm not a Swiftie. I can get down to Shake It Off, and that's about it. I don't play with the Tay-Tay or whatever it is they say. Go away. Anyway.
Go away.
Right.
Tay-Tay.
So yeah, so many theaters are now like selling hand over fist. These screenings for the Eras concerts are making big old bank, and they're like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna book it. And the theaters, they already had these contracts signed up. Yeah, we'll show Exorcist on the 12th of September or whatever, or the 13th of September or whatever it is. And they're like, well, actually, guys, we know you're an unholy demon from the depths of, everlasting hell. But the only thing scarier than that is that Taylor Swift has just shown up and demanded that we put her concert in theaters because she can't fit enough people in the venues. So now they're going digital. So we're getting Exorcist early.
Whatever.
We're getting it early though, George. That's what matters, right?
Every fucking screening of a stupid fucking tour bombs. And people
they're selling out, man. I've seen the screenshots.
Out that this is a shit idea and it will never fucking work and it never happens again.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think Taylor Swift is ever going to make it in this business.
I think this is the first time we've actually roasted something on the pop.
I mean,
Poproast.
You can't just crank that dial up all the way. All right, you've got to slowly build the heat. Okay, we can't just come in hating, fucking debating, and fucking just shredding everything, cooking everything up real fucking nice, like Grandma Stew. Okay, we're a slow cooker, not a microwave. All right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and if anyone's gonna bring the heat, it's Taylor Swift fighting a fucking demon. So that's where we got to step in and start roasting some fools. All right.
Yeah, man. I don't like to be negative. Don't like it.
Sometimes you gotta be cruel to be kind. Okay.
Is that Taylor Swift fucking lyric? Fucking better not be.
It's not, because I got bad blood, baby, and I'll write your name. All right. I knew you were trouble when you walked in. Anyway. Speaking of trouble when you walked in. All right, I'm going to skip ahead now because this is too good of a segue. But, you know, Roadhouse is walking in and it is bringing the trouble. They are remaking the Patrick Swayze classic, the cult classic of Roadhouse. They're doing a big old Hollywood version of it. You might turn your nose. You might say that there's no way they're going to touch that level of cinema mastery of the original Roadhouse. But then they got Jake Gyllenhaal, Oscar nominated, maybe Oscar winning. I don't think so. I'm not sure. Fact check me in the comments. Right?
I'll do it.
Hollywood super. No, let them do it. It's fine.
Right,
they got to do something. All right, because we can't just be bringing everything. All right, this man, he's not good. He needs a rest. And I'm telling you about my man crush for Gyllenhaal. Okay, because this dude is a fucking star. This guy has done everything. Big blockbuster stuff. He's done. He's made some really cool decisions, and this Roadhouse remake at first glance was not what I thought would be one of those good decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now they've announced officially it's going to be R-rated. George, are you excited for a modern R-rated R for Roadhouse?
I'm down for it. I'm not into like the big dude. I do like some classic action.
You love
Roadhouse.
Big dudes. I get it.
I was all aboard the fucking Swayze Express, baby. And man. Sam Elliott. How do you think I fucking grew this out?
Yeah, we grow your own Sam Elliott here at the Poproast podcast. Okay, that's why we've got to be careful with that heat, because we don't want to fuck the internal ecosystem here, and you know it'll ruin the mustache. You don't want to see that shit when it gets humid. Okay, you got to keep it sharp. All right, sharp like Jake Gyllenhaal's fucking body. You seen these pictures, man, that they released?
Did you see the weigh-in thing? They did like a mock weigh-in. I don't know if it's actually going to be in the film. I think it might.
Well, all I know is that they interrupted a UFC event, or not interrupted, because they obviously had this booked, but they were like, right, there's this venue we're doing some UFC stuff in the Octagon or whatever it is, and then we're going to come down and we're going to shoot some scenes for our new movie, because apparently this version of Roadhouse is going to be like an ex-disgraced UFC fighter who's now somehow is on the down and out, and he's a bouncer in a back road bar somewhere.
Like
which I think
the Double Deuce. I'm hoping they call the bar the Double Deuce too, because it's just
they should. I don't know if they will, but they should.
They probably won't. But yeah, so you didn't see the video clip, no?
No, I was just too busy just looking at those lines. I couldn't take my eyes away.
I bet. But yeah, no, he literally weighed in like 184 pounds. He was like, because they've got actual MMA fighters. They got Conor McGregor, right? And they got this other guy, fucking Jay Hyron. I'm not really familiar with the sport. I don't know.
Like Jay Hyman, because he's a fucking pussy. Roasted.
But yeah, literally, they step up. They do the weigh-in thing. Jake Gyllenhaal was all fucking pumped and shit. He's playing it up, and then they face up. Gyllenhaal slaps around the face. It looks staged, but you know, it's pretty amusing nonetheless. But yeah, fucking hell, this chair's all fucked up. I'm all fucked up.
Is it the chair?
Maybe it's me. Maybe it's just me. Me and the mead
all along.
Anyway, yeah, it looks fucking. I'm down. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'm so. And again, in any other circumstance, I would not have had any interest in this whatsoever. But it's bubbling away. I'm like, he's fucking committed to this. He's coming out jacked up to fucking nines, screaming at people, slapping people.
Slapping fucking.
If he can bring the same kind of intensity that he brought to like Nightcrawler,
and that's a
if he can do that, but for like an MMA fighter or a UFC fighter, and if this movie can, you know, just knock off the gloss of a, you know, your traditional remake just a little bit, you know, it hasn't got to be, you know, some super gnarly exploitation flick, but if they can just, you know, as long as this isn't another Point Break remake, and I'm not talking about Fast and Furious, I'm talking about the Point Break remake, which was just shiny and CGI and nothing. There's hope for this. There's hope for this, and I think this could actually do well. I think there's going to be a good market for this movie. I think UFC is as popular as it's ever been. You know, there's not a lot of these, you know, kind of, because all the main action franchises now, they're all superheroes. Vin Diesel and Jason Statham, they're not just regular guys punching other regular guys in bars anymore, you know? So I think there could be a real opening for this movie to come out and surprise, but we'll see.
We will.
Yeah. Speaking of something that we'll never see, okay, Ron Perlman's out and about. He's talking that he will come back for Hellboy 3 because he cares about giving the trilogy to the fans, or maybe he just wants another job after the strikes are over. I don't know. I like you, Perlman. This is never going to happen. They've been talking or not talking about Hellboy 3 for years. It was too expensive. Guillermo del Toro wanted like 300 million to do the third part of the trilogy. The first two probably didn't even make that combined. They've done a reboot since then with David Harbour, which bombed as well. I didn't mind that.
I didn't see it. I heard it bombed, but
I would still be down for this. It's never going to happen. But did you like the Hellboy movies? Would you go back for another one?
I would. I enjoyed them both, to be fair. I don't know. He's getting on a bit, isn't he? But
he is. I think he could still play Hellboy. I think there's enough makeup, and the kind of the demeanor of the character is very much of like an old crotchety kind of stoic guy anyway. So I think there is apparently another Hellboy reboot was in production before the strikes. I don't know how far along they were.
Another one?
Yeah, but it was even like an even lesser known actor, an even smaller budget. Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy, is like on board with this one, but they said that about the last two, you know. So I don't know. I think Hellboy's a cool character. I definitely think there's potential. And
I can't really think of any other franchises that have done that though, like gone with a reboot and then gone back.
There's some movies are kind of doing this. I mean, we talked a little bit about this last week, where they were going to do a Alien retcon movie where they were going to ignore 3, 4, and subsequent installments, and they were going to get back to doing a true sequel to Aliens rather, with Neil Blomkamp. You know, the X-Men franchise, they kind of rebooted and then came back to the original franchise, and then they kind of tied it all in together. So, you know, this kind of stuff is happening. Halloween, you know, we got H2O, and then a reboot, and then another another entry to the original franchise.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's good, but you know, this kind of stuff is happening, and people are playing more fast and loose with like.
I'm not thinking that's the most glaring example.
I didn't say it was a good example. I'm just saying there are examples.
Yeah.
You know, and if there's a way they can bring it back and have it connected to the original creators or the original characters and the cast and all of that stuff, then they will find a fucking way. You know, Terminator Salvation was kind of almost a reboot, and then, you know, lo and behold, next movie, Arnie's back. So, you know, the logic takes second place to the dollar or the money. So,
the mighty
you
dollar,
know,
money talks,
which is probably
pretty loud.
Why Tim Burton is bringing Beetlejuice back. He's bringing a cat back, and the cat he's bringing Beetlejuice back. Maybe we get this cat in to direct Beetlejuice because it's got passion. It sounds like it's got passion, which I don't think Burton does. I think this Beetlejuice 2 is coming. People have been asking for this for ages, but have they really been asking for this, or is it more just like, I wonder why they never did a Beetlejuice 2? And I don't know. I think this is going to be cynical as fuck, man. Are you looking forward to this?
I don't know. Well, as far as I've seen, it's been put on hold. Filming's been suspended due to the strikes and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Strikes.
I mean, Michael Keaton's had a bad rap this year because he came back to a long loved character of his with Batman in The Flash, and I know that took a lot of convincing to get him to do that, and then that ended up being not received very well at all. So I really want this to be good. I love that Winona Ryder's coming back. I don't love that we got Jenna Ortega playing her daughter. It's just going to be the same beats over and over again, right? It's just another goth kid. Come on, get out of that. Don't just get typecast. Jenna, save yourself now before it's too late.
Oh, come on now.
It took Christina Ricci years to bounce back. Of course she is, but it took Christina Ricci nearly a decade to bounce back from the Addams Family values, right? Do not fall in the same path. And I maybe don't love Jenna Ortega as much as a lot of people do, both on screen and maybe off screen, you know, from things that she said. But that's fine. I want this to be good. It's going to be the same movie again, but 30 years later. It's going to be like Dumb and Dumber 2. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I'm expecting. So.
Well, yeah, Willem Dafoe is supposed to be in it as an undead lawman.
That could be good. That could be good. I don't know. I almost would have preferred it if Dafoe was playing just like a regular dude and not like a spooky undead dude. You know, I would have liked it if he was like the interior designer dude from the first movie, or you know, a role like that where he's just coming in. But of course you're going to get Willem Dafoe. You're going to make him a fucking skeleton lawyer or whatever he's going to be, because he looks like a fucking skeleton lawyer.
Yeah.
Detective Kimball from American Psycho himself. Green Goblin. Of course he's going to be a fucking undead dude. If you know what he's thinking about, drop it in the comments, people.
Wilder Heart. Bobby Faru. There you go. Faru. Oh, fuck.
Correct.
It's probably one of the creepiest characters he's ever fucking played.
We needed to give you that little breather there, because a little thing called Fright Fest has happened or is happening. We're going to give you a little bit of a Fright Fest segment for those of you who like the fest of Fright. Or maybe you just want to hear about some cool, interesting, smaller horror movies that are coming out, or hopefully coming out soon.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a little bit of a down low on those. So you want to kick this off, George?
Sure. For anyone that's not familiar with Fright Fest, London Fright Fest Film Fest, it's been going like
What a
since
mouthful.
2000. Tell me about. So this is the 24th installment, and they do multiple events throughout the year, but the main festival itself always occurs around August bank holiday weekend, and they take over Cineworld in Leicester Square in London for 3, or I think it's 4 days. Starts on the Thursday, ends on the bank holiday Monday. And yeah, this year they've screened 72 films.
Woo!
Fucking bunch in it. I think we should go next year. Just saying. It would be a fucking. It would take it out of you. I think trying to hit every day, but at least hit a couple of days. See what's
definitely. Click those likes, click those subscribes, click those shares. Get us in the Fright Fest.
Yeah, let's get
and we can show them what it's really like to be to be in a fest of fright. So set that on the fucking goals list for next year. You heard it here first. We're manifesting. We'll be roasting the Fright Fest. But do carry on.
Yeah. Anyway, obviously 72 films. Can't fucking hit them all. We'd be here for fucking hours. So I just highlighted. I've got like what?
High frighted.
Puns.
Good quality content here on the Poproast podcast.
Always, as ever. So I'll start with Where the Devil Roams, which won Best Film and Best Director prize at the festival. It's directed by John Adams and Zelda Adams. I'm not sure of the relation there, and Toby Poser. So this is a creepy little film set in the Great Depression era. The film traces a family of murderous sideshow performers as it travels around the world on the dying carnival circuit. And I watched the trailer for this, and it looks fucking good. It won those awards for a reason, obviously.
There's a trailer for this. Is there trailers for all of these?
Yeah, pretty much. If you, I was actually trying to find reviews for the Fright Fest. You also have to put in UK if you're searching it, because there's an actual convention over in the States.
Okay, well, I haven't seen any of these trailers. I did not know these were trailers. I thought these were just like we were getting titles and synopsis. I've written in my notes here, I've got the title, and then I've got my own little notes of what I think this movie's going to be. So in my ignorant, uneducated opinion, I'm going to give you the little comment after you've explained each of these movies.
That's good. I was going to say back and forth, but yeah, I'll carry on. So you got that. That's obviously.
Oh, Where the Devil Roams. Sorry, my notes for that one. Murder Circus. Moving on. It sounds cool though, like early 1900s, like in the end of like that industry. There's not enough of that kind of stuff. We everyone remembers the classic like Freaks, and there's not been a lot of stuff like that. I mean, like House of a Thousand Corpses. I'm imagining this is going to be in that kind of realm.
Yeah, well, it's again, he said it's set in the Great Depression era. And yeah, there is some like archive, or some old, how do I say, old timey looking footage. But it looks creepy. Carnies are just fucking creepy. They're a whole fucking
and I think not as tapped as some of other like sources of like horror stuff. So I think this could be good.
But yeah, I could obviously a lot of these films are at the festival are probably looking for distribution and whatnot. So some of them might.
And we'll get like bigger trailers and more when they get the distribution.
Sure.
Those distribution companies will want to put together some like flashier trailers, and then the imbeciles like me will see these more prominently, and maybe I'll watch all of these trailers for next week, and I'll give you an extra couple of words on each one. Who knows?
Sure, why not? And I'll be looking out for some of these anyway. There's another film there. It's a slasher. He's gone. Where did he go? And he's back.
He's back.
Sweet.
I don't know what happened there.
Just this week.
One movie into the Fright Fest, and I was just out. I'm like, this is too heavy for me.
So you didn't actually accidentally clip anything? That just
I didn't touch shit. It just did a thing.
Well,
and this is all going to be in the episode. No editing. Maybe if you hear it, we did. If you hear it, we didn't. And if you did, we didn't.
Say that again. No. Damn you. Anyway, moving on from the
Next one.
Where the Devil Roams. Founders Day, which is a slasher. Directed by Eric and Carson Blomquist. It's a slasher with political twist, murder mystery.
Yep. I've written political slasher, sounds purgy, because it kind of sounds like it's got a bit of that purge
Did you get that
theme to it from the political stuff?
Yeah, also with the mask and the
yeah, but also maybe it's a little bit like Battle Royale, a little bit, as far as like, you kind of got this government that's kind of like operating off and around, the murdering of not just the citizens this time, but the candidates as well. Yeah. So that sounds fun, because I guess the person who doesn't get the votes gets got. And that's it. So you haven't got to vote for them next year. But then does that mean the same person just keeps getting elected because you're killing all the people that don't? I don't know. There could be some fun stuff here.
Yeah, well, apparently it says, both voters and candidates are killed in both entertaining and imaginative fashion.
So if you vote for somebody, all the people that voted for that candidate, they get got as well. So then it's just like that whole party and all of its followers are just gone now. Do you know what I mean? That could be fun.
Yeah.
Because then you're encouraging people to think outside the box with their political angles, and things are just going to get wilder and wilder. I don't know. I'm intrigued for this.
Not many political slashers out there, so that could be
exactly. Yeah.
I'll be looking out for that. By the way, Where the Devil Roams is going to be set to stream on Tubi. That's the only one I found out any of the releases for.
So
I'll try and
maybe roaming to a service near you. Yeah.
I'll try and breeze through a couple through these. Punch. What's the first thing you think of when you hear the word punch?
When I hear punch, it does not evoke what the synopsis gives you.
You did. Of course,
I did read the synopsis. Yeah. So I'm intrigued to kind of piece together how the title correlates to the plot line, to which I've written in my notes, University pub crawl gone wrong. There's some student, she's out and about, she's celebrating a graduation or something like that, and then there's a mysterious masked man, probably goes to the same college. I'm no fucking detective, but there's going to be some connection there for a motive, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is set in Hastings, in our homeland.
Ooh, did not know that part. So
it's a killer and a Punch and Judy fucking mask. So that's
is that what it is? There we go. There's where the name comes from. It all makes sense now.
And you'll see it, and you'll laugh, I'm sure.
Loving it. I'm absolutely loving all these images and all these technical issues that we are not having because we edited it all out.
Yeah, because it's smooth sailing. It's fine. By the way, that was directed by Andy Edwards, who made I Be for Undead, which is a zombie
bona
holiday
fide
thing.
classic by all accounts, for sure. Yeah.
If you're not familiar, if you're from
Nope.
abroad, Ibiza is the prime holiday destination for Brits like us. Maybe not like us, but yeah, they love it.
They're not like us, no.
Finger boys.
If you ever wanted to be a DJ, you've probably been to Ibiza. If you're English and you wanted to be a DJ, which is a good 70% of us at some point in our lives, and then out of that 70% are probably a good 69% went to Ibiza, and then only 5% make it. There you go.
It as actual DJs.
Yes.
Yeah. But, yeah, moving on. Home Sweet Home, Where Evil Lives. This one sounds really interesting. It's mainly because it's the director shot the 84-minute movie in a single continuous take.
One take apparently. To rule them all. One take to find them.
And in the darkness, fucking
rewind them.
Too much darkness, because you wouldn't be able to fucking rewind because it'd be one take. But
that's scary, man.
Mother discovers some family secrets.
Yeah, this is actually my notes are basically the same as what you just said verbatim there, so that one worked out pretty well. I've got one take, pregnant family secrets.
But yeah, I mean, as much as it sounds kind of novelty, I'd be interested to just see how that plays out.
Yeah, because normally you do like a gimmick like that, and then that's just like the movie, right? That's the gimmick that we're based it around. But then you're throwing that in, but also like, well, we've got this like pregnant single mum situation going on, which, and with like some family mystery or whatever. So we're going to be with this woman presumably for the whole 84 minutes, and she's probably going to be dealing with physical distress as well as like emotional distress from figuring out whatever this fucking thing that's going on. So it's a real finger cuff of a Fright fest here, I think, for this one. You're getting fucked from both angles, and with two like kind of different tropes going around there with your one take stuff, because it's not the only movie that's done that, right? But this sounds like it could, I don't know, it just sounds like there could be a bit more to this than just that is the selling point. So maybe it's good. I hope it's good.
Yeah. And there was a couple of documentaries, but there was only one that I made a proper note of, and that's Mancunian Man.
Do not tell me before you carry on, because I was going through the stuff that you sent me. You got the screenshots of your notes, a little bit of how the sausage is made here. Sometimes I send him notes, sometimes he sends me notes. Okay. I received some notes in the form of 2 or 3 screenshots, of which I do believe
split up
there is some information missing from my screenshots. Okay. So what I have is Mancunian Man, and then it's documentary about Cliff, and then it cuts off, and then it cuts back in, and it's like, does this raising life and this crazy adventure, what a life, you snapshot or whatever. I'm like, Cliff who? Fucking Cliff who? Is it Cliff Richard? Is it Cliff Burton? Is it Cliff Robertson? Is it the White Cliffs of Dover?
I'm sorry.
There's no context.
I was
Cliff who?
You want to know? Oh, you want to know his surname? So he's a filmmaker who worked in Manchester for. Sorry. Right, get ready for this name, because I'm about to sound like I have a speech impediment. Cliff Twemblow. That's T-W.
Twemblow.
Twemblow.
Cliff Twemblow. All right.
It's T-W-E-M-L-O-W.
There you go, everyone.
I watched the trailer for this as well because I was really intrigued. He's a filmmaker who worked in Manchester throughout the 1980s, shooting low-budget action, thriller, sci-fi, and horror movies that went straight to video. Quickly built a cult following. It's just through contemporary interviews, archive footage, and clips from Cliff's bonkers back catalogue. Director Jake West paints an affectionate portrait of a genuine one-off whose work you'll want to dive into once the credits roll. Yeah, I had a quick look. I can't remember half. I should have made note of some of the titles.
It sounds touching. It does sound touching. However, I am still reeling from the disappointment that I thought this was going to be another 120 minutes of Metallica archival footage. Do you know what I mean?
But here's a little fucking quote from one of the geezers in the trailer. He refers to Cliff as the Orson Welles of Salford.
I mean, that's pretty. Sorry. That's Salford, both bold and specific. Yeah, that's for sure.
Joy Division they're from, isn't it?
Yeah, well, if you've got the T-shirt, you probably know the band, or do ya?
No, do ya?
Do ya? You don't. But yeah, no, fuck it. I'll sprinkle in a nice, wholesome documentary with all this other, horrific nonsense. So I'm excited to learn who Cliff really is. Yeah, for sure.
There was one film I caught. It was like The Pike, I think, and it was like a giant fucking pike fish. It's basically like Jaws, but a pike.
There you go.
During shooting. Anyway, moving on. Suitable
Absolutely.
Flesh. This one looks pretty cool. The poster art looked awesome. I'll try and chuck it up on here. Joe Lynch.
Related to?
Directed. No, I don't
David Lynch?
In relation to David Lynch. No, I'm pretty sure we would have heard of that before. And just looking up on his IMDb, there was no mention of that, but there was mention of a music video he directed. Again, one of my favorites. My favorite song, but favorite video, which is a take on Evil Dead.
By Strapping Young Lad.
The music video for the song Love, which I'm sure you might even be familiar with.
I can't sing it to you right now, but it's in the brain somewhere. Yeah.
But yeah, Joe Lynch directed that music video, which I was, enjoyed to discover.
Devin Townsend, also known as America's Taylor Swift. There you go.
He's Canadian, mate.
They're both. Well, yes, that's because Taylor Swift is already Canada's Taylor Swift. So then he had to get demoted and be America's Taylor Swift. That's how it works. I don't make the rules.
All that. You can't. You fucked up.
Fact check me in the comments. I don't give a fuck. We thrive off of your corrections.
The Canadians are fucking livid.
Oh, look, listen, if you're upset about it, look, I'm going to take away Devin Townsend, but I'm going to leave you Bryan Adams. All right, so you basically just broke even. All right, because they're basically the same.
Oh, fuck it now. You're making it worse, please.
It's always worse. Go on, what's next?
Anyway, yeah, completely derailed. My fault. So, yeah, Joe Lynch, actor, director, producer.
Joe Lynch, there it is.
Chillerama, which is like anthology sort of thing. Pretty good. He did a segment in that. Zombie movie. Knights of Badassdom. Have you seen that?
I have never heard of that.
Pretty sure I haven't seen it either, but I think it's got Peter Dinklage in it. I might be wrong.
It must be badass.
He done some episodes of Creepshow TV series. But yeah, Suitable Flesh. It stars Barbara Carrington, Scream Queen extraordinaire, Heather Graham.
Yeah.
And when it's a H.P. Lovecraft adaptation. Adapted by
this part I know.
The king of H.P. Lovecraft adaptations, or at least writers of them. It's just Dennis Paoli. I believe that's the correct pronouncement.
Is this the same guy that wrote the other adaptations that this is supposed to follow from, yeah?
Yeah, they say it serves as a spiritual sequel to 80s classics like Reanimator and From Beyond, which are two of the best Stuart Gordon directed.
Because isn't From Beyond is listed or as a spiritual sequel to Reanimator. So there's just a spiritual trilogy, I guess. They're not really.
This thing, you have Reanimator, and then
You know?
you have Bride of Reanimator, and then you have Beyond Reanimator. So, yeah, I mean, it's the same director, same writer who adapted source material, but they are different films. They have the same, similar cast members, but then they also
no, I've seen these movies. I'm never in like, you know, the most wholesome frame of mind when I put one of these fuckers on.
No, they're pretty fucked up. But,
and I think I said this in a previous week as well, where it's like, I think H.P. Lovecraft's kind of I'm going back there.
Doing it again.
Yeah, he's overrated, and the adaptations and the things that have been inspired by H.P. Lovecraft are better than H.P. Lovecraft. Sorry.
Yeah,
you know.
I'd be inclined.
And also, I blame him for hentai. So, you know, pick your poison.
Hey,
it's all your fault.
That was H.P. Lovecraft siphoned
Mr.
through
H.
the imagination of the Japanese. Okay, so, and no shade of Japanese or hentai. If you're a fan of that, that's so cool.
Yeah, but shade on H.P. Lovecraft is where he draws the line. Everyone.
No, it's fine.
You know,
he's a racist, xenophobic, twisted, strange man. But yeah, he come up with some interesting concepts.
He did some stuff.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff. And then
Thank you for your
service. Fright Fest that I made note of was Werewolf Santa, and which is a UK comedy horror werewolf flick, which kind of speaks for itself.
I looked up nothing for this. Absolutely nothing. I've got no funny note here. I do have some questions. All right. And I don't know if you're going to answer them. You don't have to answer them, but just going into this movie, because Christmas Eve isn't always going to be a full moon. So he's a werewolf, and then he's your Santa, then he becomes a werewolf.
You're thinking far too much about it, mate.
No. I'm thinking just the right amount of this, because you know, because it's not a full moon everywhere around the world. So is he changing between being a werewolf and being a human as he's doing the rounds with the presents? And then is it like it's more of like an internal struggle of back and forth, like, oh, I've got to get these presents, but I've also got to work within the schedule of the lunar cycle.
I guess we'll just watch the film and find out.
Right? I can't wait to watch this film and find out, everybody. That's what I'm saying.
I hope you made some notes on, because I don't have much on them. Herd, which
I have heard of Herd, absolutely. This so this sounds fun. Okay, so this is some woman, some broad, I don't know. All right, she's escaping from. There's a zombie outbreak going on. She's run away from some family, or she's got some bad family history going on, or maybe a loved one was a zombie, or a family member is a zombie. There's some shit going down, and she's torn between the zombie outbreak and also the militia that are like, you know, trying to control the situation. Yeah. And I'm guessing that it's going to be very much of like just an exploration of like, you know, grief and loss, and, you know, maybe the dudes with the guns and the tanks aren't the right way for her to move forward in her life in the zombie outbreak. Maybe she finds more, you know, common ground with the zombies, or the survivors, or the dirty down and outers. I don't know. This sounds fun. Directed by a guy called Stephen Pierce, who hasn't directed a lot of features, but he's done a nice range of like shorts, documentary stuff, music videos. What I'm intrigued by, this guy used to be an editor on Saturday Night Live. So I'm like, what the fuck is that? And now he's making a horror movie. I mean, come from where you come from, and, you know, do what you do to pay your dues or whatever. But you always see like music video director, documentary shorts. You always see that shit on an IMDb. But what you don't see on an up and coming director's IMDb is edited SNL. So maybe
Yeah.
there's going to be
Strange
more than, because this sounds like a grim movie, right? But maybe there's just enough of like a visual, zippiness to it, or some kind of different take that's going to make this not just another like, post-apocalyptic, surviving in the wilderness, and maybe there's a zombie every now and then kind of movie. So
yeah. Well, I
I'm
have to
down
point
for
out
it.
one thing. Okay. Yeah. Well, I have to point out one thing because I did watch the trailer for that. I didn't read up on it. I saw a snippet of an interview with one of the lead actresses. There's one thing you missed, which is kind of crucial to the plot of the film. This woman's not just lost some. She's actually in this herd of people and zombies with her partner, who happens to be another woman. And I believe the woman, the aforementioned, knows of these people and knows that they're maybe not the most accepting of, homosexual, queer.
So that's a big element for sure.
But yeah, and again, it plays into the title, herd mentality.
Absolutely.
Like
because if they don't support LGBTQ rights, they don't support diversity of both body and mind, then maybe they're really the zombies after all. Do you know what I mean? Like, who would have thunk? We are the zombies.
Oh my god! Like, it's blown my mind with that little bit of social commentary, and there's such a.
But
it looks.
That does sound like a compelling element, and for sure, like, where do you go then if if you're on the run or you need solace, or do you prioritize like your politics, your identity, your sexuality? Does that take backseat to just like your base survival instinct? Do we just like, well, we're just gonna like pretend that we just met on the way here? Just don't look at me. We don't know each other. All right, and we're just going to come into this place. So I could see the conflict there, and that does sound quite compelling. So yeah. Sorry, I missed that part.
No, it's fine. It's just because I saw it in the trailer. Because she says like the sort of thing like, "Oh, it's my friend." She's like, "Oh, my friend," or whatever. She's like, "Yeah, you don't know these people." Blah blah blah. I'm like, okay,
you just don't know.
I see. But yeah, we are like fucking an hour and 5 minutes in, but I'm going to mention this one more.
Last Fright Fest.
Last one from Fright Fest. I watched the trailer because I heard that Ted Raimi was starring role in this one, The Failure, or it's just called Failure. I don't know the director's name. Did you catch any of that info?
Directed by a guy called Alex Caham. Something.
Yeah.
I don't know. He hasn't really done anything. Again, there's a lot of this like shorts and docu-series, music videos, a lot of just sporadic, random things here and there, whatever. But we all know that it doesn't matter who's directing this. If you've got Ted Raimi as the lead, we are there, because we're all aboard the Raimi train over here.
Well, hold your horses.
Oh.
I didn't think the trailer looked very good.
Oh, damn. I did not watch this trailer.
I was like, what am I looking at here? It's like What is there a synopsis? Have you got anything there?
Well, so all I've got is that like Ted Raimi is like captured, and he's given the choice between like having to like murder people or risk like financial ruin or whatever. So I'm like, this sounds fun. It's got elements of like Guns Akimbo, or like an Old Boy, or very like Black Mirror-y kind of sounding vibe, where it's like, we're going to kind of shine a real hot spotlight on capitalism here, and we're going to see, does this guy really value, these things over these things? And I don't know if Ted Raimi on paper is the guy to do that. But if I'm just reading it, I'm just like, yeah, that sounds wild and fun, but unfortunately, as much as I love Ted Raimi, the fact that he's in this completely shifts my idea of what the tone of this is going to be, and it's probably not going to be very, heightened or introspective.
No.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Not good,
but
huh?
Again, it wasn't so much him that I thought looked like a problem. As for a starter, the fucking camera's like just handheld all over the fucking shop, and just like the caliber of acting that he's up against. Like, yeah, like you said, there's like conflict of interest. There's some sort of family situation. He's captured or entrapped. Like, it's kind of vague, but like just some of the dialogue exchanges, just from looking at the trailer, I could be wrong. Hopefully, I will be wrong. I'd like to see it, but not.
Because maybe if he's like, because if he's supposed to be like this super materialistic, like rich guy, then maybe he's playing it up a certain way, like on purpose, and we're not supposed to like him, and in which case, Ted Raimi is exactly the kind of guy that you get. So,
again, it wasn't so much him, but yeah, that's there anyway. And that's Fright Fest. There's a whole bunch of shit.
There's a few highlights. I mean,
Definitely.
What did you say? There's like 72 films screened. We covered half a dozen. So there's like another 60 odd. Yeah. Go and check all those trailers out. I'm going to do the same. Read up on all these synopses, and then buckle up your buttholes because, sooner or later, these movies are going to start dropping down the pipeline and you're going to be able to ingest them all probably on streaming services near you because they're in your own fucking house.
And if there's anything interesting you see and we didn't mention it, put it in a comment. Or
absolutely. Like if there's some stuff on the Fright Fest lineup that you would have liked us to talk about,
or if you were there,
that grabbed you, just throw it in there. Tweet at us or tweet at me. You can get me at the Dean Lee Live. You can comment on the Instagram page or the Facebook page or right here on YouTube where you want to be clicking the subscribe, the bell, the like, the thing, whatever. Do it all.
All right. Shit.
And just when you thought that you could let your buttholes relax, all right, I did a solid for you here. And not a solid butthole movement, but just a solid favour. I went to see The Blackening this week, my people. It's been out for maybe like 3 weeks now, depending on where you are. But, it's a bit of a hit and miss wasteland out there going on, guys. We're not going to review Barbie or Oppenheimer 2 months out. So what we are going to do is we're going to go and review The Blackening 3 weeks out. So we'll meet you halfway. I'm really excited for this, man. Like, I just heard the basic premise of like, it's a group of black friends in a cabin, and we're going to play off the tropes of, the black person always dies first. And what happens if everyone's black? And obviously you needed me to come and give you the verdict. I'm the target audience for this. Good. Okay. I see myself up on the screen when I watch this, times whatever. There's a few, so I go and see this movie. I'm looking forward to this. I'm like, this is going to be great. We're going to subvert some horror tropes. We're going to do some social political commentary. There's going to be some gnarly kills. And, I'm just going to have a good time and I'm going to go home and I'm going to come and talk about it here. And I will say, first of all, that the cast is great. I loved everyone in this. I thought the performances were really solid. I think what was helped was by the fact that I didn't know who any of these people are. So I'm not like, oh, there's that black guy from this movie, or there's that black chick from that horror movie, or, whatever.
No preconceived notion.
It's like, oh, exactly. It's like, oh, there's Tony Todd and there's Octavia Spencer or whatever. There was none of that. So I'm just coming in, I'm just seeing these characters as they are, as they're presented, with their pre-existing relationships with each other. And they come into this cabin, they're all meeting up for a Juneteenth weekend situation where they're going to get wrecked and play some cards or whatever it is that they say they're going to do. And cast was great. I thought it really did a good job of capturing the tone of like a late 90s, early 2000s like slasher movie. So if you like I Know What You Did Last Summer, that kind of vibe, this movie very much nails that tone exactly. You know, like all the slow camera, the way that it builds the tension, and then like your friend just pops out with a drink and makes you jump, and you know, all of that stuff is pretty great. It's shot well. It's, you know, it seems to be directed fairly well. It's very tightly put together, and that's about where the positives end, unfortunately. So it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't lean hard enough into the horror. It doesn't really lean hard enough into the comedy. Like, they're bantering and, you know, bickering and talking to each other the whole time. And it feels like they know each other. It feels like they've got these established relationships, but also it doesn't feel like there's anyone funny writing this dialogue. There's not, you know, and it's not like a scary movie situation, right? So it's not like super heightened and super over the top, stereotypical cliches. And I wasn't expecting that at all. But if you're going to be a horror comedy, you know, put some jokes in there. I laughed twice in this movie. Twice.
Right.
There's one bit where a guy gets spoiler. I'm going to try and keep it relatively spoiler free here, but a guy gets one guy gets the same injury in the same place twice, and I laughed quite heartily at that. And it's just a throwaway physical gag or whatever. And then there's a moment where one of the victims is like strapped down in a chair, whatever, and then they finally like escape out of the chair, right? And they go to run and escape, and the killer comes up behind them and grabs them by the head as they try to escape, but it's a wig, so she just escapes. And and all the other friends who are like watching, they're like, damn, that's a good wig. And I was like, that's pretty funny because, you know, again, trying to stay spoiler light or free as I can. You know, the killer, you know, all the victims in this movie are black. The killer, not so much. So they don't understand necessarily that this character is going to be wearing a wig. But obviously, if you know any black people whatsoever, if you know you're well versed in black culture, like obviously I am, then you will know these things. But there's not enough of it. There's just not enough humor going on. It's just like they're just talking and they're bickering, and it's fine. It's not boring, but it's not funny or engaging. There's not a lot of horror in this movie. If you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to go in for this because there's not a lot of horror movies out at the moment and in my theater or whatever, and maybe I can get my fix, you know, from this horror comedy. It's not a comedy. It's not really a horror, unfortunately. There's it's a shame because the way it sets it up at the beginning is like they all meeting in this cabin, and there's a board game called the Blackening, and then there's like a mysterious figure stalking and watching what's going on. So I'm thinking, oh great, this is going to be like Scream meets Shaw, but with like Jumanji in it, right? Because it's like maybe it's a supernatural kind of board game, and there's all these elements going on. There's not really any elements going on. The way that it resolves is fairly cliche. There's one character in this who is just like a cartoon character compared to everyone else. So you all know that he's not everything that he seems to be, or she seems to be. You know, could be anyone, right? But yeah, there's not really any gore. There's no inventive kills. There's not really any kills at all. I mean, maybe like 2 or 3 people do meet their ends in this movie, but I wouldn't really call them horror movie kills in any sense of like they're entertaining or satisfying, imaginative in any way. And you know, the comedy and the dialogue just isn't there. The characters are, you know, reasonably well defined, but they're just not doing anything. And it's like this whole movie was marketed off of like, well, what happens if the black guy can't die first because everyone's black? It's like, well, that's like the only trope, really. That's it. Like the funniest part about that movie then is the tagline, and it's just like the idea of it. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, yeah, black people used to die first in horror movies all of the time, but because they died first in these movies all the time, there's no other like cliches or, you know, situations or like classic like imagery or, you know, that you can really pull from, you know, unless like you were going to have like a Tony Todd or somebody like that in there, and this ain't that kind of movie. So, you know, I just, it's kind of just a whole lot of nothing, really. I wasn't impressed. I really wanted to like this.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. I thought that whole, you know, the black characters die first. I thought something, you know, some tropes would be flipped on their head or something.
Well, yeah, but then nature. Other than the black person dying first, what are the tropes?
What is I don't know. Really, I mean,
there's not really. It sounds good when you're going in, but there's not really any tropes. And again, you've got your scary movie, and you know, and that kind of level of like your horror comedy, which is much more on the comedy side, and then you've got something like Get Out, which is like super, you know, political, super scathing, you know, satire to the fucking nines. And I just think it's so unfair to compare this movie to either of those, because it just doesn't go anywhere close to either extreme. It just kind of meanders in the middle.
Well, I don't want to assume, but like I say, I noticed, like you said, that there's not many well-known actors among the cast, and I had one look at the cast, and there was only one actor I knew, not just because it was the white guy, but you know, he's a fairly well-known actor, Diedrich Bader.
Right.
I don't want to assume he's the killer, but because obviously you're not going to spoil that. But you know, I was led to believe that.
Yeah,
it might be something like that, but
it might be something like that.
Too obvious.
But even then, that would be like more of a payoff than what you get in this.
Oh shit! Right, so yeah, spoilers.
It's more. It's not just a cut and dry, like, this person's the killer, you know, where it's like you meet a dude at the beginning of the movie who's like a creepy guy at a gas station, and he's the only white guy in the movie. Like, okay, well, obviously that dude's the killer. There is a little bit more to it than that, but also it's just not earned at all, without spoiling in the movie, which I won't do because you haven't seen it.
I still probably will check it out. I'm obviously not going to be in a rush though.
Yeah, I didn't need to see this in a theatre at all. An almost empty theatre, by the way. There was me and 2 other people. Okay, one of us is white. All right, I'll give you a clue. Right, it was awkward. Like, is this supposed to be funny? Are they like my litmus test now? Are they my canary in the mine? Because they weren't laughing. So even if I did want to laugh, I would have felt bad about it. But luckily or unluckily, I didn't really feel the need to laugh that much, other than 2, maybe 3 times in this movie I gave a chuckle, and the horror element was even less so than that. Yeah, like imagine if you were watching like a highlights reel of like from I Know What You Did Last Summer, but it's not all the kills, it's just all the characters talking in between the kills. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't sound that appealing.
And it's not the dialogue or the anything isn't enough to really to get you over the line of like enjoying this. Rating system, and again, no spoilers, but I'm going to rate this film in arrows, and it's a 2 out of 5 arrows. So, you know, leaving my quiver feeling a little bit empty there. And the arrow thing will make sense when you watch the movie. That's as much as I'll say.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry, everyone. I really wanted to love this. I was excited about this, and it just...
Yeah. Again, I have to harken it back to the music video directors, because that was just the one thing I noted from the director of this, Tim Story. Directed a fuckload of music videos.
Yes, I didn't... Well, I had no idea who directed this going into it. I did not look it up, but I know who Tim Story is.
Yeah, I imagine you would.
I very much know who Tim Story is.
Music videos, including NSYNC, Casey and JoJo, Sonic.
And then he did a little movie called The Fantastic Four, and also Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. And the again, this really does capture the tone and the vibe of those 80s, 90s, early 2000s like slasher movies. It really nails the tone, and I thought based on that, it's like, this is going to be so good. Like, he's really getting it. You know, this is a guy who knows how to work with special effects. He knows how to incorporate, well, I want to say he knows how to, but he has incorporated big effects, big performances and comedy into an ensemble piece, if you can call Fantastic Four a piece, because it's not. But that's another rant for another day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was excited for him to be doing this when I saw his name on there, and it just felt like maybe this dude hasn't directed a feature for a little while and just maybe needed a paycheck.
Yeah,
I don't know. But again, the cinematography, the effects, the performances, everything was all great. It was just that script, and you know, if you chances are you're going into this and you're expecting big laughs, big kills.
And apparently you didn't get big laughs, big kills, or anything of that sort. So that's a shame.
Yeah. So you get a couple of laughs and a couple of kills, if you can call them that. So yeah, 2 out of 5, unfortunately. But you know, if you might like it, go check it out. Let us know what you thought in the comments here on one of the pages, or you know, just come up to me in the street and scream that I was wrong. That's fine. All engagement is good engagement. So yeah, that's it.
Well, that's a review for the week.
That's our review, our movie review for the week. Yeah. So we're alluding to there, and we've both been binging the absolute fuck out of What We Do in the Shadows. I'm not exactly sure how and when season 5 is going to be available to us over here in the UK, but we are both all the way caught up. I've literally watched this whole thing in a week, and we're probably going to come back next week. All 4 seasons. Yeah.
Mental.
I started watching it last week, Wednesday. Yeah. It's literally been 8 days, and I've watched the whole 8 or 9 days. I've watched the whole thing.
I had 2 days off of work, and I rewatched pretty much the entirety of season 3 and 4 in those 2 days.
Good time. It's been a while since I've had a series like this, but that's enough sizzle. We're going to talk about that program or show or whatever you want to call it, program. I'm on my nan. We're going to...
What's your stories in the shadows?
What they do in the darkness? Yeah, no, it's fine. Okay, so we're going to come back. We're going to talk next week. We're going to talk about what we do in the shadows, seasons 1 to 4, as we get our fucking souls ready for season 5. You should do the same if you haven't, because we are going to be going all spoilers next week on that show. And some other stuff as well. We don't know what the topics are going to be. We're going to be playing a little bit fast and loose because the releases are kind of getting a bit more sporadic, and you know, the industry is kind of slowing down a bit, which it should be until everyone gets what they deserve. And we do have some fun stuff coming up. We're not only we're doing what we do in the shadows, we've got a whole comic book thing. We got some Batman stuff coming up.
Batman. All the Batman shit.
Like Batman, I disappear into the night and then I return, because we're going to be talking about Batman. It's Batman Day on September the 16th. So we're going to be talking about that. We might have some in-person content coming up. We're going to be getting together and, you know, rubbing elbows, all of this, all of that. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be fun. We can't wait, and hopefully you'll come on the journey with us. Hopefully nobody will cut out, because we'll both be in the same room, and if we did, then there's a supernatural occurrences going on, and we do not want that. So anything else, George, should we get out of here before somebody fucking cuts out again?
Yeah, I guess I'll pimp the gigs that the 2 people that watch this might be interested in.
Go and see his band. Go and see his gigs. Check all this stuff. Check out that Necromorph and what's the other band?
Skin Visit. No gigs for them for quite a while. Maybe. I don't know.
But still check them out anyway, because it's good stuff.
There's not much out there by them, but Necromorph, UK. Playing at Norwich Brickmakers, 9th of September, with some sick bands. Secrium,
sick bands.
Ataka, Celestian, fucked the name up.
Yeah.
There you go. There's that.
That's fine.
Another one, 23rd of September, Ipswich Smokehouse with Casket Feeder and Semprus. It's all metal shit. If you're into that, check it out. And then there's another one at Hairy Dog in Derby, which is ridiculous lineup. There's like us and 10 other bands. And that'll be headlined by Asaya, who are a big UK death metal, deathcore, whatever you want to call it. It's heavy stuff. Check it out.
That's it for us on the Poproast podcast. Absolutely. Check all that shit out. Tell us what you think. Let us know. Tell us what you want to see us talk about, or what you want to hear us talk about next time, or any of the other times. You got segments, you got thoughts, you got ideas. Good, because we don't. Okay.
Clearly.
No, we do. We've got some good stuff coming up, guys, and we're excited to go on this adventure and this journey with you all. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you all on the next step of that adventure next week. Poproast Podcast. Like and subscribe to all the things.